scandal for the NRL tonight, with Melbourne Storm star Nelson Asofa-Solomona under investigation after a violent street brawl in Bali.
Manasi Fainu is behind bars. The 21-year-old facing an uncertain future, charged over a church stabbing.
One of rugby league's brightest young stars, David Fifita, has been arrested in Bali.
Players need to be acutely aware of the circumstances they place themselves in and the decisions they make.
It's another lesson to all players out there, particularly young players at 19 years of age. You know, you've just got to behave yourselves these days. It's so hard.
I am frustrated. I get frustrated because there's so many good stories to be told. I don't want to have another off-season of players doing the wrong thing. The game can't afford that, and the fans don't want to see it, and I certainly don't want to see it.
Like he's already clean-shaven on top, Todd Greenberg, because if he wasn't, he'd be losing hair by the day as the NRL chief. Again, another off-season looking very much like the last. And the frustration clear earlier this week, Liz. He was in Brisbane to launch Magic Round next year, except the whole time he was quizzed about off-field misdemeanors. We've got a player arrested on allegations of a stabbing in Sydney, and then 2 incidents in Bali involving a brawl, and then an incident with a bouncer. And you just sit here waiting for the next one to come. It's not an enviable position for Todd Greenberg to be in, and we've still got 4 months to go till the footy season.
We do, and we haven't yet hit summer when things get really silly sometimes with these players and the decisions that they make. The NRL's got their no-fault stand-down policy, right? I think we've had that discussion often enough to be pretty comfortable thinking that. But then there's all these little offshoots that seem to just sideline and, you know, just catch Todd Greenberg almost unawares. So there's the issues about going to Bali. So, you know, how do the criminal charges there line up? Do they line up? If you pay your fine, there's talk about a $30,000 payment from David Fifita to get him back on Australian soil. How does that work? I suspect that the NRL has got a good start with the no-fault stand-down, but there's also, I reckon, there's got to be almost a cultural change driven by the players, right? So if the administrators go, right, you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't go to Bali and we're going to stand you down, that doesn't. It's like dealing with kids, right? If the parents say you can't do it, they want to break the rules. If other kids and there's peer pressure saying, actually, mate, don't do that, pull your head in, I reckon that might be the change they need.
That was the theme of my column on Thursday, which was 20 years ago, in the brawling, the league said the real culprit is the third man in. So that if there's a fight between two, it's the third man in that's really to blame for the brawl. My theme was, and that was good, now we need the third man back. You need to be in a situation where league players are led to understand the most powerful force, as you say, is the cultural force, which sees me with Mark in the pub, Mark having too much to drink, unlikely event, getting stroppy, bunching your fists a bit, attracting the attention of the bouncers. It needs me to understand my job. Mark, that's enough. Taxi, get him in the car and get him out.
I think the other thing is that, like, I don't want to excuse what's been going on, but you've got to understand that when these guys are out, they're targets, right? They're targets for other...
Do you accept that? Do you think really they're targets, or is that what they say?
Have you been out lately with any of these guys? I mean, I don't go out with them, but I've been out with football players and they're targets, right? The guys have a bit of drink, they get aggressive, they think, oh, look, there's Fitzy, he plays rugby league. If I take him down, I can tell my mates about it, right? I think you're right, though. The third man in could say, you know what, I can see things are getting a bit stroppy around you. Even if you're not getting stroppy, things are getting a bit ugly around you. Let's get out of here. So it's not just the person you've got to watch, it's actually the people around.
It's certainly the cultural thing, isn't it? It's almost like having a designated driver.
Yep.
Yes.
I think when you go out, someone needs to be the one to say, I've got to get us home tonight, because I think they are targets at times, no doubt about it. Often it starts out as something very friendly. Someone wants to do a photo, put it on their Instagram account or whatever it is, and then time goes by, everyone, players and the people around, have too much to drink, something said that's inappropriate, and then it just
and the other one,
escalates. Then the player is guilty.
And the other one, and this is another key, is men with women, with grog in them. If you can see things are moving in a direction, settle down enough. Tell me, in your long, storied cricket career, were you in situations where you had teammates around you, or where you as captain had to say, get him out, take it?
Well, there was times where players would get together and say, righto, we're going out tonight, and you grab someone, you say, it is time to go.
Yep.
But going back to my era, that's 20-odd years ago now, there wasn't these...
Social media.
There wasn't these phones in cameras.
Yeah.
So, yes, you could stay out later. You could to do some of the drinking that you see on these videos, and they didn't make the public arena. Now, as we've said on this show before, players have to be aware that everything is in the public arena these days.
Which brings us to the most notorious bad behaviour of lot. You wild netballers. Tell us some stories. What happened?
Well, Thelma and Louise. Oh, wow, you don't want to know.
This is a family show.
Yeah,
So
maybe in our Christmas special we'll discuss that one. In amongst all this, Cass, is the stories that the NRL wants to be getting out there. Latrell Mitchell fighting bushfires in his hometown of Taree and the surrounds there. One of the biggest stars in the game doing his bit. This is all in the background now on the back of these stories.
It is brilliant to see it, but you're right, any sort of bad thing, of course that's going to be in the media, isn't it? That's the interesting stuff, that's what everyone wants to hear about. But, I mean, this is just so good to see. And the NRL do this well. There's so much community stuff they do. They're visiting hospitals and they're doing all this sort of stuff. It's brilliant and it can't go unnoticed.
Christian Welch from the Storm, they're doing some work in Uganda. I spotted a little sneaky Sunshine Coast Lightning netball cap there on Peace Prascovia from Lightning. She's gone over there as well.
Oh,
and
it is too.
They're delivering massive amounts of sports goods and that sort of stuff for kids. So there's all these really good stories, but they get overshadowed. And to be honest, bad news sells. That's what people go, there's not a lot of ratings to be got in saying, hi, well, a bunch of NRL players did some good stuff today. But there is that good stuff going on all the time. And I heard this morning there's talk that players might be banned from going to Bali, which is such a shame because you see on Insta a lot of players are there with their wife or their family or whatever.
Could you legally actually say, thou shalt not go to this part of the planet?
Well,
I'd be very surprised. I would be very surprised.
Why wouldn't you put it in their contract? Like in their contract says you can't go skiing, you can't have do other dangerous sports, you can't go and travel here.
Don't forget Fitzy, our in-house lawyer, Liz Ellis, right here on Sports Sunday.
Yes, and don't forget all advice given is generally nature and nothing specific.